G'day and salutations. Today's briefing, Apaches and Blackhawks. Is Australia creating an aerosol brigade? Australia is replacing its current fleet of Eurocopter Tiger armed reconnaissance helicopters, ARH, and NH Industries MRH-90 Taipan battlefield lift helicopters with the Boeing AH-64E Apache and Sikorsky UH-60M Blackhawks. Australia is also moving an aviation reconnaissance regiment to co-locate it with an aviation transport regiment. So why does Australia choose these helicopters, and is Australia about to form an aerosol brigade? The role of reconnaissance is of course critical to successful military operations. The Australian Army established an aviation regiment in 1966 as a divisional level reconnaissance asset equipped with Bell AH-58 Kiowa. It was not until the beginning of 2004 that these, together with the UH-1 Iroquois-based bushranger gunships, were replaced by the Tiger ARH, with the Tigers achieving final operational certification in 2011. According to an Asia Pacific Defence Reporter article in February of this year, the outcome of that selection process was clear. The Tiger was preferred by the Army because it met all the key performance requirements, was the most modern of the helicopters offered, the price was attractive, and it had a high level of Australian content. The Apache was fourth on the list after the Augusta A129 Mangusta and the Bell AH-1W Cobra. Fifth was the Denel Ruivolk from South Africa. In 2019, Australia decided to retire early its fleet of Tigers, due mainly to availability issues. Another issue that may have influenced Australia's decision is that no future upgrades or developments of the Tiger were planned, with the Tiger 3 upgrade apparently suspended. Additionally, Germany is to retire early its Tiger fleet. As a result of this process, in January 2021, Australia selected the Boeing AH-64E Apache as the preferred solution to replace the Tiger ARH in service, ahead of the Bell AH-1 Zulu Viper. The first Apaches are due to be delivered in 2025. With the introduction of the new Apache fleet, the 1st Aviation Regiment, whose role is to provide aerial reconnaissance and fire support to the Army, and which currently operates the Taipan ARH, will relocate to Townsville, where it will be based alongside D Squadron of the 5th Aviation Regiment, which operates the CH-47F Chinook medium lift helicopter. It is important to note that the Australian requirement has always been for an armed reconnaissance helicopter, not a specialised anti-tank helicopter. Regional countries that also operate the Apache and who might operate alongside Australia in conflict include Japan, Singapore and South Korea. Now, the Apache is the world's premier attack helicopter, armed with a 30mm chain gun, air-to-air missiles, and various combinations of Hellfire missiles and Hydra rockets. The AH-64E version 6, or V6, hosts multiple improvements over earlier models, including significant developments to its reconnaissance capabilities. There are two significant capabilities the Apache will bring to the Australian Army. First, an additional maritime capability has been added to the Longbow's existing ground and air targeting modes. With these new sensor upgrades, the Apache V6 can now track and engage small maritime targets such as fast attack and landing vessels. Second, the Apache V6 is also outfitted with the latest manned-unmanned teaming expanded capabilities, or MUMT-X system. The MUMT-X allows Apache crews to control UAVs such as the RQ-7B Shadow, which is in Australian service, with communication ranges with that UAV up to 100 kilometres. It is able to access the UAV's video feeds to use their greater altitudes and endurance to see the battlefield from standoff ranges, with all the significant reconnaissance benefits from that. For Australia, the Apaches must be able to operate off ships and work alongside amphibious vessels. The UK's extensive experience in this, and that the rotors on its Apaches are able to be folded manually. It is likely Australia will look to the UK's experience with the Apache. The return of the UH-60 Blackhawk to Australian service is not surprising. Initially in service from 1987 to 2021, initially with the Air Force, then soon after the Army, which operated a fleet of 39 Sikorsky S-70A Blackhawks. These were replacements for the Vietnam-era Iroquois helicopters. Australia is to acquire 40 Sikorsky UH-60M Blackhawks, or S-70M export designation, to replace the current fleet of MRH-90s. The Minister for Defence explained that the decision to replace the MRH-90s, which entered service in 2007, was due to the less than satisfactory availability of the MRH-90, adding that the Blackhawk was a platform that Australia was familiar with. Unlike the selection of the Tiger ARH, the selection of the MRH-90 was less clear. An Australian National Audit Office report into the project to replace the Army's original S-70A Blackhawks, that was eventually won by the MRH-90s, stated that the S-70M Blackhawk was the preferred option. The Blackhawk is a mature design and combat proven, filling the central role of tactical lift, transporting a full infantry section or similar size group of troops. With a crew of 2 pilots and 2 door gunners, it can carry 11 troops or around 4,100 kilograms external payload. They are to frequently operate off Australia's 2 landing helicopter docks and in the future the new heavy landing craft. Regional countries that also operate the Blackhawk and who Australia might operate alongside include Japan and South Korea. Linked to these helicopter decisions is the geographic consolidation of industrial support to ADF helicopters that is hoped will generate greater operational reliability and reduce sustainment and flying costs. This will take the form of focused maintenance hubs. Boeing will establish a facility in Townsville in Northern Australia to support both the AH-64 Apaches and CH-47 Chinooks, which will be based there. Sikorsky will develop facilities at Oakey, west of Brisbane, Holsworthy in Western Sydney, and Nowra, south of Sydney. Oakey is the home of the Army Aviation Training Centre and where A and B squadrons of the 5th Aviation Regiment will be based for individual training and formation training. They would then deploy to Townsville's 3rd Brigade for combined arms training, around a 700-mile or 1,100-kilometre trip to the north. Holsworthy in Sydney is where the Army's 6th Aviation Regiment, which will operate the Blackhawks, is located and which supports the Army's Special Forces. Nowra is the home of the Navy's helicopter force when ashore, and the Navy operates the MH-60R Seahawks. With the Apache-equipped 1st Aviation Regiment moving to Townsville, where the Army's 3rd Brigade is located, is Australia moving to establish an aerosol brigade? A possible organisation of this brigade is as follows. So we have the 3rd Brigade, soon to be joined by the 1st Aviation Regiment, which is reconnaissance attack helicopters, which has 2 squadrons, 161, 162 squadron, which will be equipped with the AH-64E Apache. Currently in Townsville is the 5th Aviation Regiment, which is a transport regiment, which has at D Squadron the CH-47F Chinooks, which will remain there, but A and B Squadron, which will re-equip with the UH-60Ms, while still part of the regiment, will be based out of Oakey. There are 2 infantry battalions there, the 1st and 3rd, currently as motorised and mechanised, but it is possible that they would be reorganised as light infantry aerosol battalions. And currently there is the 4th Artillery Regiment, which is equipped with M777s, which are easily transported by the Chinook helicopters. The brigade currently includes heavier units such as M1 Abrams, M113 AS4 APCs and AS-LEV reconnaissance vehicles. These are unlikely to be organic to any air assault brigade. How the 3rd Brigade is to be restructured as a result of the Defence Strategic Review will be covered in a future briefing. And note that while not part of the 3rd Brigade, Townsville also hosts the Army's Specialist Amphibious Assault Unit, the 2nd Battalion. In summary, the introduction of the Apache and Blackhawk helicopters brings into ADS service platforms that are very mature and combat proven, should deliver greater availability with low risk and improved through-life support compared to the Tiger and Taipan platforms. The addition of maritime strike and UAV control on the Apaches introduces significant new capabilities for the Australian Army, capabilities which are consistent with the recently issued strategic review, which highlighted the increased role and optimisation of the Army for littoral movement operations by sea, land and air from Australia. Substantial cost savings should be realised with the consolidation of basing and maintenance hubs. We should also expect to see Australia engage heavily with the UK in lessons learned from operating the Apaches at sea. That concludes today's briefing. Thank you for watching. Happy to take suggestions for future briefings from subscribers. So please subscribe, like and share. Until next time, Fale de Sere.